How a Canterlot Wedding Should Have Ended by Vicron. She eats the stuff. Energy rippled through the air as Cadence and shining armor floated into the air. Onlookers beheld with glee as a hammer stroke was brought down upon the changeling queen.
What? What Discordian madness is this?
Chrysalis yelled as the dome of love-powered energy bore down on her, impacting with the weight of 1,000 blue whales. She skid across the floor as she fought to hold back the love, but it was too much.
Oh well, might as well give them what they want.
She sought in defeat.
No! I've been defeated by the power of love!
At that moment, something clicked in her mind, as if Faust on high was screaming at her in outraged confusion. She opened her feeding gates and sure enough, the energy from the dome slid right in, empowering her like nothing she had ever felt. Normally, she would have been ecstatic, but this was just confusing. She had to verify.
Wait a minute. Are you blasting me with food?
She cocked an eyebrow as she felt her power rising even further. She could feel her peak quickly approaching. Cadence opened her eyes wide as she realized how utterly moronic using the spell had been. Yeah, this wasn't thought through at all. Shining Armor cracked an eye open to see if the monster that had plagued him was gone yet. Not only was it not gone, but it was practically glowing with power. "Twilight, you are the dumbest smart pony I have ever met!" he screamed, flailing his legs in the air.
Sorry!
Twilight yelled back as she ran from the room with her friends.
I was using you as a distraction so the girls and I could get the elements! Oh, no you don't! Get back here!
Suddenly Chrysalis felt herself go cold, just shy of her peak. Her power started dropping.
What fresh tomfoolery is this?
There was a yawn from one of the side rooms. "Any pony care to explain why these woke me up?" The love magic buckling under the frigid sound of his voice. Blue Blood sauntered into the room. Nestled in the aura of his magic were two changelings, both gasping pitifully as they searched for some kind of sustenance. He dropped the two black sinks when he saw Chrysalis. "What in auntie's name is that?" The love magic couldn't stand another vocal assault by this creature and shattered entirely, letting Cadence and Shining Armor fall to the floor in a heap. Chrysalis immediately felt why her spawn was desperately trying to drag their withering bodies away from this monster.
Ah! It exudes the hatred of 1,000,000 humans! Keep it away!
She scrambled back. Turning to face the windows, she saw the entire swarm of changelings fleeing the city. She tried to follow, but the waves of hate left her too weak to do anything but scream.
No! My babies! Come back and save your queen!
She took a step and fell forward, unable to get up. She curled up into a ball and started muttering in fear as she prayed this horrible monster would leave.
So much hate! So much hate!
Why didn't anyone think of that earlier? Someone in the crowd questioned. "What is this?" Blue Blood yelled in outrage. "Who let this abomination into my cousin's wedding? I bet it was Copperplate. I'll have his head for this." Blue Blood continued to rant, not that anyone of any standing was listening. They had all learned long ago that in order to survive Blue Blood, you had to ignore Blue Blood. Chrysalis and the other guests, however, were not so lucky. "Make him shut up!" a brown stallion yelled from the crowd.
It burns!
Chrysalis screamed, pawing at her ears.
Its voice is like 1,000 needles of contempt! Make it leave!
Tears had begun to stream down her face as the creature, no, demon, continued to babble.
It's evil! Evil!
No pony in the room had thought they would ever agree with the changeling queen, but they were just about ready to pull out holy artifacts in an attempt to silence the bastard. A dull whispering sound, like sand through a filter, filled Celestia's ears as her prison disintegrated, dropping her to the floor like a rock. Celestia picked herself off the ground. She looked at Chrysalis, rocking back and forth in horror, then to Blueblood, who glared at everyone in the room with his usual level of hatred towards anything that wasn't himself. Quickly realizing what was happening and unable to watch Blueblood starve the poor creature out, she knocked Blueblood out. "Back to your nap, dear nephew," she whispered as she carefully laid his unconscious body onto the tiles. Chrysalis slowly felt energy returning to her, just enough to pick herself up. Celestia's pearl-white face filled her vision. "I can make it so you never have to encounter him again, if you leave Equestria and never come back. Or..." Celestia trailed off, simply gesturing over towards Blueblood's sleeping form.
I give! I give!
Chrysalis threw herself onto the floor, prostrating herself before her savior.
You are a good, generous, gracious leader! I refuse to ever come back to this place!
She turned and broke through the window in a frenzied attempt to escape.
Come, my minions! There must be easier prey somewhere!
The two changelings that had been crippled by Blueblood's awakening fled with impressive speed. Celestia looked back at her nephew with newfound respect. "I believe we just found the perfect changeling repellent." At that moment, Twilight and the other elements burst back into the room.
Prepare for defeat, you!
Twilight cocked an eyebrow once she realized that Chrysalis was no longer present.
Who'd she change into? And why is it so cold in here?
Worry not, Twilight. It would appear Blueblood has finally made something of himself. Celestia snickered.
Blueblood?
Rarity snarled.
What could he have done?
It appears that he gives off a ring of pure hatred, strong enough to drive the entire changeling swarm from Equestria. Chrysalis was practically kissing my hoofs when I knocked him out. Celestia gave her signature smile, a face that to her allies meant good times were coming, and to her enemies that she was about to do something horrible to them. And oh, was she concocting something horrible. To Wonder D, I thought it was funny. Pouts.
We here at Pony&Wolf Productions thank these amazing patrons of ours for their monthly support, without which all of this would not be possible. We sincerely appreciate it, and every dollar helps, is needed, and will be used to keep us going to produce audiobooks for your continued enjoyment. It is, now more than ever, important that you support your favorite creators if possible, due to YouTube changing in a way that is not very friendly to content creators. Especially small content creators, like us. In recent months, the names you see on screen have enabled Midnight and Visual Pony to keep going and only having to sell off part of their belongings to not end up on the street. As an incentive for everyone, Visual Pony has broken a vow and has promised to read and record Fallout Equestria, Murky number 7, should the monthly support reach $1,500. To be clear, this is the absolute minimum amount needed to keep the apartment and all bills paid without starving, while a production of this size is ongoing. The estimated time for this production would be 3 to 4 years, but people already said that Project Horizons was impossible to do, right? And now look who did it, so with Pony&Wolf, you know we can finish the job. For further information on how to support us, please have a look at the description of this video, as there are also other ways, like our merch store. Sincerely and forever yours, your Pony&Wolf team.